forth, a lot of good discussion. The opportunity for everybody at this table to be there was open. So everybody, I think everybody was here at one point or another. Everybody gave their input. I think the budget we come up with was a good collaboration. On the floor, there was some back and forth, but it was good. You know, we did some things that, you know, I thought were, good, showed some teamwork, little give and take. But again, you know, we put a month in on this budget, you know, and I do feel like it's our budget. And I'm gonna stick with my vote.
Hello.
Hey, Dana.
Hi. Excuse me, sorry.
Deb?
Originally, when this came to the floor, I think Tony and I were the only ones that wanted the 10%. The non-homestead homestead, and that still bothers me, because in the interim, I've had a Ward 9 meeting, and that was a question that was of some concern, especially with the folks that were there that were either disabled, a young family in the process of trying to buy a home, and senior citizens that are on Social Security. So I know the first time I lost, Tony and I lost, so I figured, okay, that's a done deal. But the second one I got thinking about was the pike plan.
Let's wait till the pike plan. We'll come to the pike plan, I promise, and we'll all get a voice. Let's talk about the budget right now.
Well, that's part of the amendment that I have a concern whether I may override it or not.
Okay, if it's connected to the budget, then that's fine,
It's
that's
connected.
fine.
I went home and I got looking at the amount, I know it's 12,000, I think, or something like that, but what really rankles me, I'm sorry, 4,721. What bothers me is I don't know if the next administration coming in is going to take up the mantle of getting the canopies fixed. I mean, they are definitely something seriously wrong with them. And to charge these business owners monies that they don't have a well-designed, well-draining, well-attractive-looking canopy. So we're basically dunning their money from them for something they don't really have, and that really bothers me, and I know we have to fix it, but why should they be having to pay for something that's not working? It's just, you know, and that was what I got thinking when I got home. I know it's a small amount, but I guess it's just the principle of the thing, and if we're not gonna go forward to force the contractor to fix, then that really sticks in my craw a little bit too.
And what's the budget connection in this budget?
Well,
Because that's not the pike plan assessments that's a separate resolution.
But that was part of the budget for the resolution to go into the budget. Wasn't it? I thought it wasn't.
No, pike plan is separate.
That's separate?
Yes.
Sorry.
You know, I
That's all right.
did read something in the paper there saying that if we don't assess them, that it's paid out of the general fund.
Right.
I'm not sure that's right.
Right, that was the question I
Do you
had.
believe that to be true?
Well, not that, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe John can, I asked John and he got a little sleep last night and so he.
Well, that's why what my
Yeah, I
question
was thinking it was
was.
more, I
So
think
do you know that answer, John?
The costs are borne out of the general fund for both the bond and the maintenance for the pike plan. And the properties are built during the year. That revenue is also included in the general fund.
well, but the pike plan assessments all go back into the general fund. It's not
Correct.
segregated for work uptown? Maintenance or
It's
anything?
under the pike plan department. Both the maintenance charges are charged to the pike plan department,
Right.
as are the reimbursements from the benefited property owners.
Okay. I looked at it at one time, but anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
Back to the budget.
Back to the budget.
But that was the one concern. I knew it was going to some general fund.
Thanks.
So. But,
And so what is your position then on the budget? Are you going to support the budget that we passed out of finance and the council?
I'm
Or,
leaning towards it because of the hard work that we did and a lot of negotiation that was on the floor last time. To tell you the truth, I probably won't know if I sit down in a chair. Seriously.
okay. Bill, Tony?
Well,
Go ahead, Bill.
I think there's parts of each of the budgets that I don't like, but there's a lot of compromise that went on to come up with our budget, which I think is a much better budget. I think we've got to look at, cutting the clerk salary, cutting Parks and Rec salary, cutting the budgets of the economic development and the corporation council to where it might be an unworkable number. That would kind of cripple those two departments. I think are critical issues with that, and the other areas where we had to compromise, you know, I think it just makes sense to pay us the council budget. So that's where I stand.
Tony, Nina, Brian? Do you want to weigh in, share your thoughts? Tell us where you are, what your concerns are, pros, cons?
Well, I mean, as you know, I mean, when I spoke at the public hearing on the budget, I wanted something much lower, much closer to a zero type of budget. You know, obviously, we didn't get anywhere near that. But like you say, now it's a choice between two different budgets. And, you know, the fact is that, you know, this budget for 2016 and in 2017, the new members of the council are gonna have to come up with that budget. You know, the simple fact is, people have to govern. I say, you know, that given the backing that, you know, is on the finance committee, the difference between the mayor's budget and this budget in total spending is about $73,000. So while it is higher, it's not, you know, crazily higher. Like I said, I don't really think either budget is much good, but that's just because spending is far too high on both of them. In the end, however, you know, I say take the budget that the council put together that I think was, you know, more in line for the new mayor, and you know, then we'll see how they govern with it. I mean, no reason to tie his hands right off the bat. I won't be here, but I still live in the city of Kingston, and then it's sort of a no excuses budget. You know, you got what you want, make it work, and if you don't, then you know, you can't complain that somebody didn't give you the tool to work with. So I'll be a vote to override the veto.
Okay, thank you. Tony, Nina?
We need before age, I
Then you must go.
guess. Again, I think the budget, what you finance, the committee put together, me sitting here, you know, not really having a say, and biting my tongue a lot, that we put in a lot of hours. You guys put a lot of hours in, and along with the other committee members that were, you know, council members that were here, we put in a lot of hours for this. And I believe it's an overall good budget. And I don't want to really see us tie the hands of the new administration, executives coming in. And let's give them the tools to be able to work and see what he can do. Again, it's a bipartisan budget, you know, and that was fair. And there's, like Bill said, some pros and cons on both sides. But overall, I think it's a fair budget. And I don't think we should tie the hands of the new administration coming in.
Okay. Thanks, Tony.
Me?
All you.
I'm the last one.
No, no, we'll go to Jim. If he wants to say anything, but we don't have to, but,
Okay.
but yes.
Mary Ann, you went?
Everybody.
Everybody else went.
That's what you get for coming in late.
It happens. Actually, I was on time to be accurate about that.
It was
For
supposed
once.
to, late last one, it's supposed to bring coffee.
Darn it. I'm gonna bring fatty stuff all next year.
That's all right with me.
All right,
I'll have to amend that policy.
so many things, I've been thinking about a lot all week. I don't want to tie the hands of the new administration either. It's not about that to me. There were issues with both budgets that I had. Yes, a lot of hours were put in. You guys were here more than I was. Doesn't mean I wasn't actually paying attention. I have issues with both budgets and the way the last budget was. I respect the fact that many of you were trying to actually work things out, and I think that was very, very important, and I felt very tied, very, very, very much in the middle, because we were trying to work together. That was really cool to see for once. But I still have issues with both budgets. It's not, I think, most of all, what I'm feeling from this is what camp are you in? And it wasn't about that for me, just like I'm sure for a lot of you it wasn't. Mary Ann put enormous amounts of time in this. And for that, I felt like Tony said, I couldn't say much because we weren't, I mean, we got to speak, but it didn't very little.
We gotta
Don't
get that out.
Until it came down to the vote,
Couldn't vote.
and there were issues, like, I remember walking away from many meetings feeling like, oh boy. So we came to finance, but we really didn't have, our input wasn't really weighed by vote. So, I think the mayor's budget, it's not about being in his camp, it's not about being in, the camp, that wants to negate that. If vetoing the budget is because the new budget is the right one for our constituents, then I'm for it. But I don't think that it is. I have issues. One of the issues that I have is the 10%, 20% homestead. I have a big issue with that because, I mean, I try to think from both perspectives, from the businessmen in comparison to the homeowners, and
You know, that wasn't veto, that was a separate resolution.
Right, that wasn't.
That's not part of what we're voting on tonight,
okay.
just so you know.
Okay, so then maybe that's not it. But wait, the 10%,
The shift, yes, we voted, we voted on what the homestead, non-homestead shift should be, and that was a separate resolution.
right,
And we ultimately voted for the 20% shift, and the mayor did not veto that.
Actually, technically, we voted on the 53-point-something% homestead for.
because you got the breakdown, I
Right.
remember that.
But that
Right.
was the vote on the shift.
So there's three things that are vetoed here.
There's the budget, the general budget, there's the tax levy, and then there is the pipe plan.
The tax levy's big, the 1%, that's gonna weigh in a lot on citizens.
Yes, it will.
I'm having a hard time with increasing, I mean, we knew this was gonna happen just because we were saved for the last couple of years from increases, and I think, even though we knew it was coming, it's gonna be painful. It's something that is gonna happen, it has to happen, but it's painful to me. The Hodge Center, you guys know I have issues with the Hodge Center and the way things are worked out. It's not because of that position. We could have kept it 53,000. I think that it's worthy of that 53,000. I feel like it's not, that it needs to include that program that shows positive outcomes. I know we can't actually, because Mr. President was thank you for explaining that to me, because I didn't understand that we cannot vote on programs, but why couldn't that position go to the person who was running that program? That part I'm having trouble with. I don't understand why.
The person that was running the programs was eliminated because he became the mayor. So that
No,
position
no,
was.
no, no.
She's talking about the redirect.
Right. Okay, I'm confusing you. Let me try to make it. I'm sorry. The read and write program, I think, should be included because it has positive outcomes. I think the Hodge Center, the way it's being run, currently has positive outcomes for teaching kids how to exist, how to carry themselves. But the reading and write program has importance because it teaches kids to read.
Well, I have a question. Can I ask you a question? Because Teresa volunteers there.
She volunteered
And then
because
she
it's the
has
only way
people-
to maintain it.
Excuse me?
That's the only way she can maintain it. The money that's given, she gives to people that actually
And
don't
it's
get it.
$6,000 that usually comes from the CPB money every year.
Plus one of the churches tries to contribute too because they want to make
Right,
it.
so that's a separate entity from the position that was there, because the program is run by a volunteer, and the people under her are staffed through grant money.
But what does that have to do with what I'm saying?
Because I'm not sure,
Because I feel like that program exists in uptown and downtown. Why can't that program be included in the Hodge Center? Okay, the position is gone, Steve is gone from that position. Is it a matter to continue that exact position or to bring in new ideas that help benefit the kids in that area?
and just to interrupt for a second, that's an issue that council can address next year. I don't think we're in a position to be able to address that issue tonight,
Of
because
course.
we're only voting on, and I think those are all good questions, and I think it should be
You're-
fully
you're
vetted,
exactly
and
right.
you should go down that path and certainly champion that. But we're not in a place to make a decision or vote on that tonight.
You're right,
So,
that you're right about. I just figured since everybody else expressed their
No, I
concern,
appreciate it.
I would do the same thing, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I am for vetoing, I don't want to veto. I don't want to override the veto. Sorry, did I say that the
You
right
want to
way?
support the mayor's budget?
No.
You want
I
to
don't
support
like
the
either one.
council's? Which budget are you going to vote for? If you vote yes, it will be a vote for the council's
get up.
budget.
No.
Is this, Jim, just so we're clear, a vote yes will be a vote on the two budget resolutions. A vote yes will
I
be,
didn't look at it, but I think a yes will be to override.
okay. And a vote
No.
no will be to,
Not override.
no.
Do we have a copy of the resolution?
Okay, but if I don't, I guess it depends on how we verbalize it. If I can make this clear for you, Mary Ann.
Should be pretty clear.
Voting no doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with that, because I think both budgets have issues, just like many people at this table said. So by voting no, I'm saying I don't think either one is solid.
But then you'll be voting in favor of the mayor's budget. And that's the budget, depending on what happens with the veto override vote. If the override does not pass, then the mayor's budget will take effect. If the override does take effect, then it's going to be the council's budget.
I understand.
Okay, so are you going to
Do
be,
you understand what I just said?
so are you in favor of the council's budget or the mayor's budget for your vote? Not in whether or not you like either one of them, but which one budget are you going to vote for?
We're not voting on each individual budget.
Essentially,
We're voting to override the veto,
that's
correct?
correct.
Or
That's what we're
not
voting
to.
on.
Or not to.
That's
So-
correct.
Just so, we're just reading the language. At the bottom, it says affirm the budget of 40,800,000 and something. So essentially, the budget that we passed, you vote yes to affirm that budget, or no, in which case it'll fail and the mayor's budget takes its place.
Your verbiage makes sense.
There you go. Thank you, Brian. So are you going to vote to affirm
Or to fail.
the budget, the council's budget? or
No.
not? No, okay, thank you. Bill?
The mayor's budget didn't have anything earmarked for the read and write program. And the council budget actually did, both are eliminating that position, but the council budget actually set aside for another part-time position that can be used for that. So technically, the council's budget.
It can be.
Right, it does, whereas the mayor's, there's nothing, this is eliminated and that's it. I just wanted
To be incorporated, not just for the whole thing.
Right, exactly.
So,
It's
Yeah,
funny
for
that we
whatever,
got-
but
we're
the mayor's
redoing
has
that.
not, there's no money allotted for any of my programs at all. Just
So-
point that out.
So I'm in favor of the veto override on both the budget and the tax levy. And the way I hear it is that there are 6 votes in favor of the veto override, a minimum of 6 votes in favor of the veto override, or in favor of the council's budget and in favor of the tax levy that the council passed. Is that correct for everybody who said yes? Brian, yes? Okay.
I'm just counting. It takes me a while to count.
Okay.
So-
All right. So, any other discussion about the budget before we move to the pipeline? Jim, did you want to say anything about the budget or no?
Well, to me, it's a no-brainer. You should override the veto. There's just too many, cuts to departments that we need. So I mean, it's just with that, you gotta run city government, you gotta have those positions.
I have to agree with that.
Right, so. And then, secondly, I think next year, with the new administration, hopefully the council will be more involved with the budget process from the beginning of January through December, so we can help create the budget and what we see, and then problems or programs that Nina's talking about, we can discuss beforehand, before it's the 11th hour, and we get a budget that we have to react to. So it'd be nice to have, put something into that budget.
That would be a good practice.
That's fair.
Go ahead.
And I just
Mary.
wanted to say, I know a lot of people were saying about the long hours that were put in, and there were long hours put in, but the amount of hours doesn't determine
The quality.
the quality, right? So, I mean, there could be little hours or many hours. So regardless of how many hours there were, I'm just saying.
I'll say this, I think the group put in a lot of quality hours. I think we asked a lot of questions, and I think we did. I think, you have to facilitate to get everybody here, to get the information that we needed, follow-up questions, and it was a really nice collaborative effort. Even though we didn't agree on everything, nor should we, it's not what we're here to do. And we should have disagreements. But I think at the end of the day, we put together a nice product, and I think that goes a long way. And I think if we don't pass the council's budget, or the one where we made our changes, you're going to have a significant number of changes that you're going to have to deal with and redo a lot of the work that this group did this year. So, did you have something to add?
And for that reason that you just mentioned, I feel that I am responsible if it doesn't pass. I know it will, I just have to voice my concerns. The way we actually tried to fix things on the floor was not comfortable to me. It was very uncomfortable to me, and I think that was just as bad as us accepting all the cuts, which weren't fair. You're right. And I feel like, do we iron them out, or do we just pass the one because it's the right thing to do, because we don't want to have to go back and iron out these wrinkles? We're talking about people's lives.
Well, just stem on what Nina was saying, for example, when the position got eliminated, then you asked for $38,000 to be put in contingency. I mean, and that was a craziness of the floor too. And I mean, there were many, many things that I agree with being at my fourth budget were handled quickly and swiftly, and reaction on that council floor 2 weeks ago, so.
Knowing these are the groups, some of the group members' concerns, I think there's one part of it that's what happens on a floor of a legislative body. But the other thing is, knowing that these are issues that you're concerned about, I would recommend that you deal with it up front in the beginning of the year, whether it's having that initial conversation or those conversations with the mayor, and figure out how to hammer out these issues ahead of time, and you have a process set up that everybody agrees to, so that it becomes less of a flurry at the end. Go ahead, Bill.
I think part of why it got like that, Mary Ann, was that when we left caucus that night, the vote was to not eliminate the position. So the people, all of a sudden, when it got changed and people were blindsided, then everyone was then it opened up a whole new.
Well, it's scrambled to put $38,000 in contingency, so in January the position can be reinstated.
When
It doesn't take
we left
anything.
caucus, there was the position
When I
was
left
staying
caucus,
there. When we left
I
caucus,
wasn't
the
in
vote.
favor of it.
I know that, the vote was 5-4 when we left caucus. When we got on the floor, it switched. That changed the whole dynamic, because now a lot of things changed, so that's why there was a lot of back and forth. It was the change from Monday to Tuesday is what created all of a sudden rushing. Otherwise, we would have hashed it out probably in caucus if we did that.
Well, my vote was the same, so.
I know, I'm saying it wasn't.
I would like to discuss, we have a council meeting in a few minutes. I would like to move to the pike plan unless there's anything else that we need to discuss regarding the budget. So, okay, pike plan.
I just
Go.
have one thing about the liquor. So we're talking about the ones that haven't paid their maintenance fee and part of the bonding and whatever. But the ones that paid, they'd be like being cheated. I mean, you're gonna give a break to the ones that didn't pay and the ones that paid already? What about them?
John, you know,
I wouldn't be happy
total
about
is how
that.
many paid and how many didn't?
I can tell you the total is billed, I think you have the resolution that says what would be re-levied, so. you just have to
But
do the
does that
math.
break it down by property though, or this is all?
Well, the total bill was $9,397.51.
And how many does that include? I wonder, does that include all the businesses, or are there a few that didn't pay?
It's a fine question. That, the $9,397.51 is for all the plate plan members. What's being re-levied is whoever didn't pay out of that.
And what percentage, you know?
Well, you have the number, right?
4,700.
So it's about half.
Roughly half.
Roughly half.
Okay,
So half of them,
Half paid, half
so,
didn't pay.
Well, you don't know that, you don't know that because the amounts levied vary by the amount of
Yes.
frontage.
Right.
So for instance, Dominic has a bit on Wall Street and a long stretch on North Front, so he's paying a lot more than the person next door who has a dinky little storefront on just on Wall Street. So the numbers don't tell you.
so nothing going,
even if it was
nothing.
$100, it's $100, you know what I mean? I wouldn't.
But it is true that those who have paid, if you don't re-levy it, then by avoiding paying your assessment, they'll think we'll get away with it. Next year, you won't get anybody to pay, ever.
Exactly.
Right, that's right.
And that $1 million bond that we gotta pay, we'll be paying.
Well, should be paying it anyway, but that's a different story.
So that's a useful piece of information.
I would, as that's my ward, I can only tell you that it's really anarchy not to charge everybody the same rate. That's just not right. So I encourage you all to vote to, incur the levy on the property tax. Yes.
Is everybody in favor of the veto override?
Get it?
You are? Brad? Tony?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
With my original vote, yes.
Deb? Steve? I'm a yes. And that gives us more than 6, so we'll see where Nina stands. All right. Anything else anybody needs to discuss?
I'd like to say something before you guys leave.
Yeah.
In the past couple of years, we've had a couple things that have occurred. In 14, you called a caucus on Labor Day, which the Democrats, I still can't figure that one out. We had on Veterans Day, you called a finance meeting. I know you had a lot of meetings, but I would
Because I had
say.
nowhere to put it. I was willing to come in on a Friday night, but nobody else was, just to let you know that.
I'm just saying, that and this is not specifically at anybody, only to say that I think that you guys should carefully consider avoiding, days that are set aside to honor veterans, labor, etc. Just try to find another day to have a meeting. That's all. I would just encourage you to do that, okay?
I gave you.
Fair point.
So the planning board should meet on Rosh Hashanah.
Great, thank you. All right, with that, let's go to the council floor. Your job.